Hi, I'm Mark from the Endurance Store. Just going to do a short video and talk a little bit about forefoot running. First thing is that forefoot running is really popular at the moment. There are a few reasons why we recommend people should try and run forefoot, but we'd separate forefoot from barefoot or minimalist. So forefoot running or forefoot shoes are shoes which are designed to make people run on the forefoot, whereas barefoot or minimalist shoes are different in that they don't have any cushioning. So I think it's really important from the start to separate the two. So what I'm going to talk about today is the kind of shoes that are going to help you run on your forefoot. We'd recommend it for a couple of reasons. The first thing is that with running on forefoot, it just gives you a bit more natural spring. So when you land on your forefoot, there's a gap under your heel. And what happens is your heel drops down into that gap, your Achilles stretches, and the energy that you've stored in your Achilles then gives you that recoil or that spring which propels you forward. So it gives runners a little bit more bounce, makes them quicker and makes them more economical. The other reason as well, and it has been cited that forefoot running can help reduce injuries, and one of the reasons for that is that when people heel strike, they tend to hit with the outside of the heel, and as soon as you strike on the outside of the heel, it flips the shoe inwards, and that increases the amount of pronation, which can cause common running injuries. Landing on your forefoot, you don't get that direct blow. So, with regards to forefoot running, this is a standard Mizuno road shoe. With regards to forefoot running, the most important thing that we can look at is the differential. And the differential is the difference between the heel and the forefoot. So this standard road shoe is a 12mm differential, and that's pretty standard with a lot of road shoes. And that means there's 12mm of difference between the thickness here and the thickness there. So it doesn't matter how thick this is or how thick that is, it's the difference between the two. So 12mm is pretty standard in road shoes. Now, the less difference, so the lower the differential, the more chance that you're going to land on your forefoot. Because when you strike, if you've got a big wedge of foam here underneath your heel, you're going to fill that gap, which then means that your heel can't drop down, give you that stretch in your Achilles, which gives you the spring and the propulsion. So Saucony, as a result of this, have now reduced all of their road shoes to an 8mm differential. So there's 8mm difference between the heel and the forefoot, and that means you've got an extra 4mm gap underneath that your heel can drop down into and give you an extra 4mm of stretch on your Achilles. Now, of course, we've got other shoes such as, move to a trail shoe here, an Innovate trail shoe, and this goes as low as 6mm. And Innovate's actually have a neat little thing on the back here where each arrow is 3mm. So this is down to 6mm. Again, it's got an extra couple of millimetres shaved off the heel, so a bit more of a gap underneath your heel, drop down into, stretch the Achilles and give you that propulsion forward. But just as an example of the difference between forefoot and barefoot or minimalist shoes, this is a real forefoot shoe because the differential here is only 4mm. So the differential is lower than any of the shoes that we've seen. So this is the most forefoot running shoe that we have in the shop. And it's a bit deceptive because there's quite a lot of foam here, but your heel is actually sitting somewhere on the bottom of that grey line, and this is just built up on the outside. So that's the most forefoot shoe that we do because it's got the lowest differential, 4mm. But it's got a lot of padding, and that confuses people in how it can be a forefoot running shoe when it's got so much cushioning in. And we wouldn't class it as barefoot or minimalist, but it is a forefoot running shoe because it's got the lowest differential. So if you're looking to start forefoot running, and so we always advise people to run that way and try and encourage them to use the right technique that encourages you to get on the forefoot. If you want to improve your forefoot running, then the first thing you should be looking for when you're buying the pair of shoes is getting the right differential. And you don't necessarily need to buy shoes which have no cushioning in or have your feet very, very close to the ground, which creates a lot of impact and jarring through your joints. So differential first, rather than looking at the cushioning. So hopefully that's been some help to you and explained a little bit about forefoot running shoes and the design. And if you need any advice, then by all means go to the website, give us a call or come into the shop and we'll be happy to help.